welcome back to Full Court Press, everyone. I'm your host, Tom McGinn. Thank you for joining us today. This weekend we had a lot of great games, a couple upsets as well. So we're going to jump right into it. The first game of the week, Team Lusher versus Team Calderon. Team Lusher winning by just 1 point. What are your guys' thoughts on this game?
This is a great game for Team the Lusher. They needed much needed win. They were 1-3 coming into this, and Team Calderon was a fierce competitor. So, props to them. Without Michael, without Jay, without Thomas Cashman.
That's their top three draft picks.
That's literally their top 3 rounds. Metab, Jordan Poole, going off. There's nothing much else to say. This is what we needed from him. 16 points. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Another person on Team Lusher I'd like to shout out is Jaden Thomas. In the absence of Thomas Cashman, I was worried about the rebounding and having no big man. But Jaden really stepped up, played a great game. He had 11 points, a lot of rebounds. And at one point, he even threw down a kid and hit a banked three-pointer, which was potentially the difference in the game right there. So shout out Jaden.
Also shout out to Anthony, the Ant-Man. He dropped, I believe, 4 three-pointers. Just like Drew Gray would say, this team's role players really stepped up. They just proved why they are a good team without their star caliber players, and you just love to see it.
Yeah, it's good to see this team performing so well, especially they beat Team Calderon, where Joel and Vincent combined for 30 points together without their top 3 players. I think that's a good sign for the Team McCullough Lusher.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about Team Calderon, that's back-to-back games where they were winning for the majority of the fourth quarter, then they let it slip at the end. So 2 pretty much choked games from them. A little bit concerned about that. They got to tighten it up as the game gets close.
Yes, Calderon definitely needs more from their role players. But on the other hand, Metab is just unstoppable. That's why he's the GOAT, honestly. That's why he's the GOAT.
I have a question for you guys. So obviously, Team Lusher had a huge comeback week this week. Do you guys think it's going to continue? Do you think Metab is going to continue to put up a lot of points again, or what?
I think that Drew's scheme is starting to work out for the better, which is a sight we didn't expect to see really, but it was still pretty good. So I think that if their offense can continue to shine and move around the ball well, they have a good chance at keeping this up.
Yeah, I think they're looking really good. I remember the preseason episode, we talked a lot about how they have so many weapons and a lot of guys could score, and I think we're really starting to see it now. Andrew Shane, obviously, he's a really good player. He didn't put up as many points as other people on his team this week, but he played a really good game. He was leading the offense for most of the game for them, and Metab going off. And they did, with Michael coming back next week, Thomas Cashman, they just have so many people that can score. Watch out for them.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll see Jay back in the playoffs as well, but that's to be determined. Moving on to the next game, we have Team Barry Bar versus Team Lombardo McGinn. Team Lombardo McGinn wins 52-43. As someone who played in this game, this is a very interesting game because we were missing probably our best player, Michael Lombardo, with an ankle injury, but he'll be back next week. The game kind of went back and forth. Our team would be up 20, and then we would be up 5. So we got to work on just finishing and closing out games. Obviously O&T put up an absurd amount of points yet again. That team is very underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, surprisingly closer game than we'd imagine. And O&T dropping 23, was that all in the paint, or was that he was around 3-pointers?
It's really interesting because he would I think he made a 3 or 2. He just takes so many shots. He's not afraid to just let it fly. A lot of it was in the paint and a lot of free throws though.
Yeah, shout out Steven Speckman putting up 9. Great game for him. But also Team Barry Bar, they really never quit. I walked in the gym, it was a 15-point game. Then I would check on it would be a 4-point game. And then Team Lombardo would, have a big lead. And then, like you said, they would just come right back. 9-point game, obviously a pretty good win, but I think a lot of people were expecting a blowout of 15 points-ish. So good game for Barry Bar. I think you guys were definitely missing Lombardo.
Yeah.
He had so much of the offense. But for Team Barry Bar, the thing I'm worried about is the scoring difference here. Owen putting up 23, obviously, great game, but you really can't have your next best guy only have 9, I think, if you want to win, especially against a team like Team Lombardo. So you definitely need more out of Colin, for example.
I just want to go back to what you said earlier about Barry Bar putting up a good fight. I think they're a very aggressive team, and I think that they actually are. I feel like they're a decent offensive team. Their defense,
yeah,
it's all fouls is basically with their defense, and that creates a lot of problems for them because they give up so many buckets.
Yeah, speaking of that, there was another technical foul in this game committed by Ryan Snow. There's been a lot of technical fouls lately, so I think everyone in the league has to kind of recognize that and maybe just calm down a bit because these refs they're not afraid to tee you up.
Take some time to appreciate the refs. They're taking time out their Sunday to come ref our games. And one more point I want to piggyback onto your argument is that Owen had 23 points. James and Colin both had 9 points. And besides those 3 players, their team only scored 2 points. So they need more of a presence from their role players.
I think they just need to spread the ball around a lot more.
Yeah, they're definitely star heavy right now.
Yeah.
Well, Owen is the only person that I'm not gonna say that can score, but he's doing. Him and Colin, and I guess now James are basically doing all the work. Is there anybody else in this team that can score? I think is what we have to ask.
I think there definitely is some members, but the coaching I think has got to really develop the young guys in practice. Make sure they're ready. But it's a common theme I think in rec. If you're a star-heavy team with not much help, you're destined to fail in the playoffs.
I couldn't have said it better, Jake. All right,
good game for James. Shout out James.
Exactly. On to the next game. We have Team Rams Alexander versus Team Last. What more can you really say about this game? Team Rams Alexander winning 50 to Last 27.
Pretty simple game. It was pretty fun. Honestly, Team Last is a very fun team to play. And although we were kind of messing around the first half, this was really a game for us to kind of develop our offense a little bit more. So because Jake, last week you said that we have a really selfish offense, and honestly you're right, but this game we got everyone else into it, and it was just a good game overall for us.
You love to see Mikey really having a comeback game here, as well as you, Rahim. I love to see you on the scoreboard this game. Mikey putting up 10 points, that's amazing because when I watched this game, he was really just being more aggressive. He's definitely more involved in the offense. Even though this is Team Last and it probably doesn't move you up on the rankings a lot, I think this is a huge comeback game for you guys.
No, it's good to see Team Ram's offense, spreading the ball around. You got 4 players in double digits. That's great for a team like this that people had been saying was selfish on offense. But
I liked how you mentioned that you guys maybe didn't take the game as seriously as you would have wanted it. I remember the third quarter. It was late in the third quarter. It was an 8-point game. And your brother was, he was giving your team some.
He's pretty heated.
Yeah, he was talking to them about how you guys need to pick it up. It did kind of look like there were points where you didn't take them as seriously as you would have wanted, and I think that's kind of been a common theme against Team Last. I said the exact same thing about our game last week. We didn't take them as seriously, but Last always they don't have a win, but they've had a lot of close games, but then they always end up kind of choking towards the end. So, I don't know. They could surprise a team, but the fourth quarter, it's been rough for them, I think.
You got to talk about Brandon Esteban as well. He's leading the way consistently for this team. I didn't think he was super efficient on offense, but I think it's just really hard when you don't have a lot of other scoring options because, what are you really supposed to do if your team can't score in basketball? It's not much you can really do.
Yeah, definitely. Hunter put up 6.
Also a really underrated player, Hunter.
Yeah. He's a really strong guy, football player. I'd like to see him maybe he's not super tall, but he's definitely strong. Maybe post up more, try and take it more to the hoop and stuff. Put him on the block. I think you really got to utilize him.
All right, moving on to the next game of the week, we have Team Henderson versus Team Breen. Team Henderson, not a great showing for you guys. You guys had a 20-point loss.
Yeah, it was far from our best game. I will say we were missing a couple of big players.
Your whole team.
Well, I can't say that as much as I would like to put some heat off us, but
no, Brady is your whole team, man.
I would disagree with that. We're missing Brady, obviously. Ryan Bentley still an injury. He will not be back next week apparently, so hopefully we'll get him soon. But time will tell. But I think our offense in this game was honestly fairly okay. I know that's what everyone says. We can't really score without Brady. We put up around 40-ish points or 46 points, but 44 to be exact. Yeah. But Noah had 12, Jelani had 10, couple great shots from Jelani.
On his birthday too.
Happy birthday, Jelani.
He practiced last night. He was hitting everything. He's really good. I mean, I think offensively we're fine. We just got killed on the boards, obviously, and we defensively. Max Dulé just cooked us. I mean,
He is
there's
so
no
good.
other way to
He's
say it.
filthy.
He's nice.
I mean, oh my God, it was him and Owen Fiedler as well.
I've been saying this.
3-point threat.
We've
I
been
mean,
waiting for a game from Owen Fiedler for a while because we know he's a good BSC baller, and he comes out today yesterday, and finally puts up 20. Like that's what we need from him. And your team, not much light for here besides like you just had your biggest game of the season with 18 points, so good on you. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's hard to really celebrate when you lose by 20. But I mean, their 3-point shooting was incredible. I mean, we'd get like a couple layups in a row. We'd get some momentum going, and then they just come down and hit a 3, and then we'd get a layup, then they just come down and hit another 3. Like, I mean, it was so demoralizing. I mean, I gotta say it. And also, I want to talk about Tim Breen. I know he doesn't score as much as Owen and Max, but he's just as good of a player. He really sets up the whole offense, sets up the tone, and a great defensive player as well, and a team leader. He really kind of like helped them make adjustments on defense, which kind of stopped me, and I found it hard to score. So shout out to him.
I feel like that's something in rec ball we need to really emphasize more. It's not necessarily the guys that are dropping 20 a game, but the guys that have 10 assists, 10 rebounds. No one nurses 4 blocks. Those guys are really what make a difference in a basketball game. So it's not all about like who scores the most points either.
Exactly. Tim, not a big scorer this year like he was last year, but
Probably
he's
leading
the leader.
assists, yeah.
He's the leader of the team, and I watched their play. Him setting up Max and Owen was exactly what they needed. So good on him.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, we're gonna move on to, potentially the biggest upset in the rec ball season this year. We have Team Martin Sassetti 52 to Team Nagy 44. This is just a crazy game.
This was a crazy game. Team Martin, without Brendan Martin, mind you, takes down the #1 seed in the league.
It's crazy.
And dethroning them. Now they're 4-1. Grace Sassetti, Trey Sassetti, Grant Williams, whatever you want to call him, had a master class.
Perfect comparison right there.
23 points. AJ Tarzia, 15 points. Exactly what we needed from him. Best game of the season for him. And John Colburn, Brendan's little brother, Max Martin, apparently paint beast.
Yeah, he really filled in well for Brendan there.
And, crazy game.
Yeah, great game for John Colburn. I mean, we talked about him a couple weeks ago being potential underclassman of the year. He continues to show up. Obviously, I mean, you can't say enough about how good Gray was. I mean, he really stepped up. I mean, I was telling him before the game, without Brendan, you're going to have to put up 20 to win. And he did just that. Yeah. So shout out Gray. The thing I really want to talk about, though, is Team Nagy. We talk so much about how well-distributed they are, how a lot of their players can score. You can't just focus on one guy. Well, they were just one guy this game. I mean, Connor put up half their points.
That's why.
That is just a recipe for disaster for them. They're much better when they have like 3 or 4 guys putting up around 10 points. And I think a big part of that was Martin's defense. They played a great scheme. They played kind of a sagged off 2-3 and just dared them to shoot. And it put up great results.
I want to kind of elaborate more in this game is, Team Martin Sassetti, give them credit because they really just sliced their 1-3-1 and their zone presses.
Especially in transition.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. AJ really led the way. He kind of just pushed it up the side, threw it to the corner. They couldn't really stop that. And on, Nagy's half-court offense kind of concerns me a little bit for being, the 2 or 3 seed at this point is, they basically don't have a lot of great shooters other than like Andy C and Nagy. And it seems like they're just trying to get it to Nagy down low. Like, I can see them being successful if they have like Greg try to open up the court more and some 3-pointers. It would really space out the court.
Yeah, if Ishan could shoot more,
yeah,
that would definitely space out the offense. One thing I'd like to mention is that towards the end of the game, they were stringing back some sort of a comeback. It was like down 9 points, and then they were down 4. And AJ just kept on coming down, scoring like 4 times in a row, but then AJ just iced it. AJ and Grace Sassetti just iced it. So good on them.
I want to go back to Team Martin for a second and talk about Team Martin. I think a lot of people, myself included, were on the train where like this team is really, I'm not going to say nothing without Brendan, but this team is Brendan. This team runs through Brendan.
Kind of like Team Henderson.
I think we all kind of look a little stupid right now with the people on this team that I don't want to say they were disappointing us, but weren't exactly performing as much as we would have liked them to, like, Gray and AJ.
Yeah.
In the void that Brendan leaves when he has to go, they really stepped up and they played. And I think that we need to give this team more credit as a whole.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, shout out to AJ. I think he did a really good job of helping break the zone, draw fouls. He helped get Andy C in foul trouble and fouling him out, and that was a huge loss towards the end of the stretch. He's such a good defensive player, and he really helps them a lot in transition. And I think it's kind of been touched on, but the fact that they were able to break the 1-3-1 really helped them, obviously, but Team AG scores so much in transition, and this is kind of the first week where we really had to see them kind of set up more of a half-court offense because they're so used to just scoring based on their defense a lot, and it kind of showed their Achilles heel. So, they got to really work on that in practice this week.
Yep. All right, we're gonna move on to the next game: Team Cespedes versus Team Meyer. Team Cespedes gets a win, 57-34. Rahul just paves his way for his MVP campaign.
Crazy win right here. I mean, we know that Team Meyer was missing Eli and David, two of their...
And Jake Birkhead, which is just, we were literally playing with 6 guys. But
that's
but also 2 of our top scorers, yeah. So
Brady dropping 11. Jake, of course, dropping 11. Brady Robinson, is that?
Yeah.
He dropped 11. Good on him. That's a great game for him. Luke Brackett dropping 8. That's also a great game for him. One thing I'd like to mention, the highlight of the game, of course, is Ananta scoring his first basket of the season.
Absolutely.
Class act by Team Meyer, of course, by letting him score. Great, just a very wholesome moment for us.
Yeah, Luke Brackett was definitely a big defensive threat in the game. He was running up and down the court. He just never stopped running, like he was running a marathon, so great on him. Jake Daplate, I think, is a really good ball handler, but I think a lot of times it just kind of seemed like he was just kind of dribbling around, and then a lot of his teammates didn't really move around. There wasn't much movement, and that's a kind of a common theme I've noticed for Team Meyer. They don't have much movement, and they also don't have much tempo. They kind of play, I think, slower than other teams, which it makes them not as exciting to watch as other teams. Obviously, they're missing a lot of guys, and I think that'll change when they have their full team. But I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned in that area.
When I watched this game, I was very disappointed again. I just think the effort level was so poor. You just had guys walking up and down the court, just rec ball is all about having fun, and they definitely look like they're having fun. But at the same time, you want to keep a level of competitiveness
Besides
in
Luke
it.
Brackett, of course.
Oh, Luke Brackett. he will give you energy every single game, no matter what.
Well, oh, sorry, Ron.
Shawn, one last point. Neither you or Matty were on the score sheet this game.
No.
Do you got any insight about that?
Well, personally, I'm not a very good shooter. I think Matty. We all yell at Matty every time he gets a breakaway. We need Matty. We want Matty to dunk it. I think that we need to watch out for that later this year. Matty dunk is coming this year. But like you said about the effort, we had 6 guys. We had 1 sub. I'm not trying to make any excuses, but we basically had to play the entire game.
That's fair.
Geez Louise, it was tiring.
Another thing I want to talk about for Team Cespedes, obviously, we mentioned Rahul MVP, but he had so many threes in that game.
I thought
it was incredible.
It was crazy.
There was a certain someone here saying that he had no bag, he would just do the same move every time. And he was a real shooter this week, so it may have proved some people wrong.
Look, I'll take the blame. That came out the wrong way, but yeah, Rahul definitely MVP campaign is going crazy right now.
I think that Team Cespedes now may be benefiting. I don't know what's going on. I think Mr. Cespedes here, he's always whipping his charts up. He might be moneyballing his way to the championship right now, figuring out that Rahul is some sort of statistic,
movie, of course.
3-point shooting anomaly. He's gonna use him to his advantage to win. I don't know. That's just a theory, but.
I also like seeing Camden being a consistent second option these past few games. I didn't think he was really a huge basketball player, but he's just proven to be a physical presence and just drive to the hoop a lot as well.
Camden, of course, good point guard, shooting guard, whatever you want from him. He's not only has 9 points, but consistently has 5+ assists per game. So yeah.
Yeah, and then they had 3 guys as their third leading scorer with Ivan, Julian, and Luke Molesky. Another great game from Julian. I talked last week about how he's really good down low and a great defensive threat, and he continues to show it. This team is a really deep team. I think no one was really kind of expecting them to be one of the deeper teams during the preseason, And there's always like one team I think that really just kind of shows up and just proves that they're way better than where they were initially ranked, and that's Team Cespedes.
I agree. I think we need to put. I think everybody, the league collectively, needs to put some more respect on their name because they're showing it week in, week out that they're here to play.
Another connection to Team Henderson of last year. You guys were both ranked 11 in the preseason. So
We won it all. Maybe
yeah,
they will too.
Maybe they will win it all. Like, it's looking good for them right now.
All right, moving on. Those were a lot of great games this weekend. My personal favorite week of rec ball was just a joy to watch.
A lot of upsets.
Stay tuned for the TBA's game of the week, which is Lombardo-Martin. I will be so excited to play in that game. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. This has been Full Court Press, signing off. It's about to be the best episode we've ever had.
Maybe.
It's all
about
the
a
mentality.
mindset.
It's all about the
mindset.
mentality.
Exactly.
You listen to that song right before
High
recording?
energy, but not high disses. That's the key.
Yes, yes.
Good amount of distance, just good amount, just the right amount.
I'm gonna diss Rahim once for getting me last episode. That's it. All right.